It's now time to serve you that juice. You're welcome. Thank you for staying on Joy News Desk. We made a call and you responded resoundingly. I'm talking about the fundraising event organized by the First Lady, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, in partnership with the multimedia group. The aim was to raise an initial 10 million Ghana cedis for the construction of a maternity block at the Konfo Teaching Hospital. It comes 2 months after the premiering of Joy News' special assignment Next to Die, which revealed the needless mother and baby deaths at the facility. Though there is a 40-year-old uncompleted maternity block, it is expected that this unit will ease the pressure temporarily. Last night, we raised approximately 8 million Ghana cedis in pledges and donations. And like I mentioned, this has been done in partnership with the First Lady of the Republic of Ghana. Let's take a listen to her.
I need to tell you the exact difference your contribution will make. Currently, the maternity center has 2 delivery beds and 2 operating rooms with only 1 functional. The new unit, however, would have 5 delivery beds, 3 operating rooms, and 4 emergency delivery beds. At present, we only have 3 working incubators and 4 phototherapy units. The new unit would be equipped with 20 incubators and 20 phototherapy units. The current facility uses natural ventilation, which makes the place really hot. The new unit would be an insulated building with forced cooling. It's a technical term, forced cooling. The new unit will allow Cath to take in 4 times the current number of infants and mothers. Ultimately, the projection is that this new unit would reduce the avoidable deaths by 60 to 80%. I believe we would all be happy with this outcome.
Well, we have 2 more million Ghana cedis to raise, and my colleague Erastus Asare Donko has been to the current mother and baby unit at the Konfo Teaching Hospital and reports that mothers are expectant that 2 million Ghana cedi will be raised to start this new project that will help save mothers and babies.
Bolus impetigo, a very infectious bolus impetigo, a very infectious condition. Look, it has some blisters, so if it comes in contact with the cuts, the materials, any baby around, even some of us will get infected. So this baby should have been in a separate room. But this is the case, we don't have any separate room for the baby. The baby has to be with all of us here. And it's bad, it's actually very bad.
So this is the mother and baby unit, and you can see the space we have here. And this is the stable unit, right? See here, we have 3 babies in this particular court. We were supposed to, ideally, how many babies should be in this?
Ideally 1. But now it's 3. That means there is congestion.
Well, as we come here, the same applies to other courts that you see around. And ideally, the mothers should have been sitting here like this woman is doing to her baby. But because of the space, imagine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, how many babies? Plenty. How?
24.
So more than...
we have 24 cots, but the babies are more than that. We have about 30-something babies instead of...
So 30-something babies in the small room. If we were to allow the mothers to sit by their babies here, we'll have a situation on our hands. So as you can see, some few mothers can be allowed in at a time. And even with these 4 mothers, you see how cramped up they are. Close to each other, no space to feel easy, and they have to sit on these stools. Perhaps if there was space, we could have gotten a more comfortable chair for them to sit on and be able to breastfeed their babies. So you can see even with this one, look at 2 babies very closely packed in 1 cot. And it's easy to spread one infection to the other. So you have a nice bouncy baby. When did you deliver?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Tell me of the challenge, the experience. Tell me.
It's been hectic. The nurses are really doing their best, as well as the doctors. You can see how they are all trying to sacrifice and make us comfortable here. But the apartment or the building is not helping. It's been very hectic. Where to bath, where to rest. I've been leaning on this bed for the whole of last night, and it's not been easy. So we are really pleading.
So when you want to sleep, you sit where you are and you lean against the bed?
Yes, please. That's exactly what happens.
How do you feel in the morning?
Yeah, tiresome. I feel very tired. But for the sake of the baby, I have to also sacrifice. But it's not easy.
Now, Multimedia is spearheading a fundraising bid. We are asking workers to donate their widow's mite. We'll be launching the fundraising proper this evening, led by the First Lady. How do you see the move?
Oh, it's excellent. It's great. Before we move into our 43-year-old building, I think it's a good step to serve in the interim. So the expansion program is good. When I looked at the drawing, we will get more than twice the current space. It is very good. So we would urge corporate bodies and individuals, as you said, no contribution is small, but if we put all together, it will be great. So let's plan to support it. I know the budget will be out. I'm sure individuals can even take the whole budget. We are urging companies to come on board. The children we are saving in the next 30, 40 years, they are supposed to be the leaders of our nation.
Why are these mothers sitting on the bench?
That's the seat that we've been giving to them. We don't have any chairs apart from this one. That's what they are sitting on.
Well, so there you have it, the stories from the Komfo Teaching Hospital, just to encourage you, if you've not made up your mind yet, to support this project, to give you some reason to do so. My senior colleague, Kojo Youngson, was at last night's event and joins me in studio for some discussion on what took place. Kojo, thank you so much for coming.
It's always a pleasure. It's a rare treat.
Sure. But let's talk about this very, wonderful, if I may call it, initiative that's been spearheaded by the First Lady, partnering at the Multimedia Group. Last night, you actually, raised the funds. You were going from table to table, trying to get people to give money. Were you surprised? Or were you expecting what we actually got?
I, like many others, was overwhelmed. By what we experienced yesterday. People were just so generous. We actually said to people after they came in that any currency, any cash that you brought with you, you're not going away with it. People literally took out bundles of money from their bags.
They came ready
to give. They may not have been planning to give all of that, but just after being moved, by what they saw, what Seth Kwame Boateng and the team here had put together by way of a documentary, and after hearing the words of the First Lady, everybody just felt that we had to be a part of the solution. And bear in mind, we're trying to do this in a holistic way. So we're not only trying to create this extra space at Komfo, but we're also trying to improve the capacity of district hospitals in the areas that are all feeding patients to Komfo, so that there will be a reduction in the number of cases that have to be referred because the district hospitals will be able to take care of them. So this 10 million is just the beginning. It's just what we want to get started with. And we are so amazed that people, both Ghanaians and some of the missions represented in Ghana, were so willing to give, from the bottom of their hearts to help achieve this goal.
And I must mention that the engineer in charge of this project says that once we are able to raise that initial amount of 10 million Ghana cedi, we can have this facility fully functioning in 3 months.
In 3 months. That's the timeline they are working to, which means in 3 months' time there will be some relief.
Sure.
But trust me, with extra space will come extra supply of patients. That's why it is important for us to deal with this holistically and make sure that the district hospitals are also properly equipped, their capacity is built, so that not so many people have to be referred to Komfo Teaching Hospital. So 10 million is only the beginning.
Sure.
It's only the beginning of this solution. So we are encouraging people to keep giving from the bottom of their hearts, because this is something that we cannot allow to continue.
All right, Kojo. What was that one thing that impressed you most about yesterday's event? I know you've spoken about the fact that people literally gave everything they had on them, but what's that one thing that touched you, that gave you the goosebumps?
Well, apart from the spontaneity of the giving, and I've got to say that was what made it magical, you know, you can tell that most of the people who gave were moved to do so by what happened there. They didn't come from home planning to give 20,000 cedis or 50,000 cedis, but they did after they saw what happened. The one donation that I still feel warm when I think about is GASEM. GASEM decided to give all the cement that this project will need, free of charge.
Wow.
You know, and that was wonderful. Many other institutions like Interplast and so many others also are pledging supplies and equipment, which will all go a long way to reduce the cost of this project, and also means that we can even spend more equipping the facility to save lives.
Okay, quickly, could you let's just try and help our audience understand the difference between this particular project and that abandoned 43, almost 1,000 bed capacity project?
I'm so glad you asked. So if you imagine this project to complete the 44-year-old block will take 2 years at the quickest to complete. The government has committed to completing it. We're yet to see that commitment brought into reality. However, over 2 years, can you calculate how many babies will die? Well, we certainly can't afford that. So we decided to create a stopgap solution, a temporary solution to stem the flow of death. So essentially, this project, within 3 months' time, will create a one-story block, which will create extra space, which is much needed, so that for the current rate of referrals, there will be a bit more room. Mothers will not have to have babies standing up for the babies to drop on the floor and die. Babies will not be packed 8 into an incubator, so we can start to reduce the incidence of death. But this is a short-term solution. The long-term solution is still the block. That must happen. Government cannot take their foot off the gas. They must make that happen. And the other thing is, people ask, well, why didn't we put this 10 million into creating maybe one floor, of the final block? The reality is that the block is designed to work in an integrated manner. So one floor cannot function without the other. All the utilities work through each other. So it simply must be built at once. $70 million is what it's going to take. The government has committed to doing it in 2 years. The president has visited the site. We are watching and continue to put pressure on government to make it happen. But we, multimedia, working with the First Lady, decided that we want to do something to simply just reduce the number of deaths.
Right. Thank you so much, Kudri Yangson. And you did a great job yesterday.
Kudri
Yangson is host of Super Morning Show and my colleague here. But before I go, we need, like I mentioned, an extra 2 million Ghana cedi to realize the initial amount of 10 million Ghana cedis. And so we'll just quickly put up the account numbers on the screen. And so the account name is Save a Child, Save a Mother. And that account is with the Access Bank. And the CD account number is 00901046187141. The dollar account number is 000910146187141. And the Euro account number 0091064618741, and the pound account is 0091024618741, and the MTN mobile money account number 05479666662. So I'll go over it again for the MTN mobile number 05479666662. You can donate any amount that you can afford, like the First Lady said, Kitwa Bien Swa. Away from this and hoping that you would make your donations, UK-based non-governmental organization Christian Aid is collaborating with other partners to help address the unemployment situation, especially along Ghana's coastal areas. It is believed that about half of the youthful population in these areas are not absorbed into formal employment and so have had to contend at best with odd jobs. According to Christian Aid, the 3-year project called Growing Economic Opportunities for Sustainable Development will create opportunities for young people by training them.
The overall objective of the Growing Economic Opportunities for Sustainable Development project is to provide technical vocational training for the youth in selected communities in Western and Central regions and Accra. The program also aims at reaching more than 8,000 citizens who will directly benefit from training and job opportunities.
So we're looking at training for young people. As we saw in the presentation, we have about quite a number of people, especially those who don't complete SHS and JHS, dropping out of schools. And so this project called Green Economic for Sustainable Development is quite focused on these people, young people who have not graduated from school, in providing them with trainings, some vocational training, some also in the area of artisanal. Based on our analysis, we recognize that the real estate development has the opportunities. In the Western region, we recognize that there are quite a number of agro production activities, so supporting with some women and some young people in fish production, as well as also food production, to ensure that they have sustainable livelihood and something that thrives and goes beyond just the short term. So we're going to work directly with the communities in selecting the people, and we recognize that the trainings are quite expensive, and so we want to be sure that people who get involved are serious and want to make it work. And we also want to make it work because it's taxpayers' money, and so we want to make sure that it's working.
The Minister for Inner City and Zongo Development lauded the initiative. According to him, the initiative will provide a unique platform for the youth to contribute to national development.
Although there have been conscious efforts from various governments and stakeholders to address unemployment in the country, there still exists a huge gap. In the light of this, the growing economic opportunities and sustainable development projects will go a long way to complement the already existing interventions in tracking or tackling unemployment in this country.
My colleague Patricia Gasu put that report together, but I'm joined in studio now by the country manager of Christian Aid, Madame Gifty Apia, to tell us more on this project. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, briefly tell us about this initiative and why you decided to do it.
So I'll tell you a bit about Christian Aid,
Sure.
and that will give you the justification. So Christian Aid is a Christian organization and an agency of churches in Great Britain with a mandate to work on relief, development and advocacy for poverty eradication. We believe that poverty can be eradicated. So usually when we write poverty, the P-O-V-E-R is in red, indicating that poverty can be over. What we try to do in Christian Aid is that we strive to achieve dignity, equality and freedom for all people, regardless of faith, nationality and gender. And we believe that poverty is a scandal. You know, it's a scandal and a sin.
Sure.
No one has to live in poverty. And so that gives us the impetus to go into this. Now, if we come back home, currently in Ghana, I mean, as we said yesterday, we have over 250,000 young people joining the labor market on a yearly basis. Out of that number, only 2% are able to be engaged by the formal sector, leaving the 98% to fend for themselves, usually in the non-formal sector or as unemployed. And currently, 48%, to be specific, of our young people are unemployed. You know, so Christian Aid, looking at our mandates of you know, supporting vulnerable people, thought that this was something that we could go in. You know, tackling the root causes of poverty. One of them is tackling unemployment. So that's what gave us the, if you like, the motivation to go into something like this. And we did approach the European Union, who graciously supported us and collaborated with us, providing funds to do this project that we are talking about.
How will this project take off and who is likely to benefit?
Okay, great. So this project is happening in two regions. Greater Accra region and Western region. In the Western region, we are working in the Elembele district, and then in the Greater Accra, we are working in the Ayawaso East and Ablekuma South. You know, all of these are coastal, you know, coastal districts. And when we looked at the poverty map of the country, you would realize that it is most severe. Poverty is most severe in these two areas that I've talked about. So we are working in 3 districts, Elembele in the Western region, we are working in Ayawaso East and Ablekuma South. And what we are doing is that we are working with the district assemblies and the sub-metros, in the case of Greater Accra, and the sub-metros. And then also we are working with other partners. We work through partners. So we are working with Ghana Institute of Welders. We are working with Oxzond in the Western region. And we are also working with the sub-metros. That's how we are doing it.
And so who's likely to benefit, and how long will the program take? What exactly, what does this program entail?
Okay. So this program is a 3-year program starting from February 2017, so very fresh, and it will end in January 2020. And
February, so it's already started.
It's already started.
Okay.
So that's how come yesterday we launched it. We've done the district level engagements and all of that. So we've already started. We have a criteria of how people will get involved, and then we are also validating that criteria as well. We are looking at people who have a passion for what it is that they want to do. So we are talking about vocational skills. We are looking at particularly some of the non-conventional. So we are looking at welding, for example, and young women who would want to go into that. In terms of age, we are looking at 15 years to 35 years. So we are dealing with young people. And we'll also be dealing with groups. So we have people living with disabilities, for example, and they have groups. So we'll be looking at what it is that they are doing in the groups and then what support they need. We would need people to belong to groups to be able to qualify to assess the support that we are doing. So we'll be doing extensive interviews. We don't want just, we have had these, many organizations have had these interventions, but they don't work. Why? Because, normally we are talking about hairdressing, we are talking about sewing and so on, but this time around, we are looking at what it is that the young people want to do and what will give them employable skills, and then send them into that.
So how do you hope to extend this, if you can, to other parts of the country? Because as you rightly mentioned, the statistic for unemployment in this country is quite high, and dealing with these 3 districts alone cannot solve the problem totally. So what's the hope for the future?
Wonderful. So what we are doing, we would call this kind of a pilot, and when we do this, we are looking for people to come alongside Christian Aid to scale this up. So yesterday at the event, we had the Minister for Inner Cities, we had the Honorable Deputy Minister for Employment and Labour Relations. What we are doing is that at the end of the 3 years, we are going to put together all the best, the learnings, the best practices, if you like. And one of the plans we have is to do what we call advocacy for legislature, for example, and share that with government so that we will scale this up to other parts of the country. So you asked the question rightly, how do we hope to scale this up? We are looking for partners to come alongside us. We are calling on the churches, we are calling on businessmen, we are calling on civil society to come alongside Christian Aid and look at what we have done, what we would do in these 3 years, work alongside with us and be able to scale this up.
Thank you very much for your time here on Joy News Desk, Madam. I must say it's a really good initiative, helping young people get skills so they can be employed and employ others. Thank you very much for your time here. You're watching Joy News Desk with me, Benes Abubeidu, and you're watching Joy News Desk. We'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll be talking about Galamsey, because Joy FM and the multimedia group, your superstation, has put together a thought leadership program to deal with the issue. Please don't go away.